Here on the channel, we mostly cover RPGs. But sometimes there's a game that just happens to catch our eye and we think this is definitely worth sharing with you guys. So although it might not fit into our normal collection of games here on the channel, today we're going to talk about a brand new combat game called Warhaven, which looks like a bit of a mix between a bunch of familiar games that you may already know of, like Chivalry, Mordhau, and For Honor. It's even going to have a closed beta test happening very soon, so we thought now would be a great time to give you guys the rundown of what the game is, as it brings a new spin to a genre that may interest you, and of course it's going to be playable soon in this closed beta. So if you do find this interesting or helpful, definitely show support by clicking like down below, or subscribing for all the content we have planned for you guys over the next few days. Put down in the comments below if you've played a game like this before, such as Chivalry, and what your favourite memory is. I have a very good memory where a couple friends of mine absolutely trolled me in a match of Chivalry where they basically both hunted me down, and it was pretty hilarious. It's going to be a free-to-play, multiplayer, hack-and-slash game for PC where two teams will battle it out for victory over the other. The game will support up to 16 versus 16 player battles, and you will be able to split into smaller squads of 3, so if you have a friend group, then you can benefit from working together in a tight-knit party. In the game, you take on the role of a hero called an Immortal, and this is where the game gets a bit more interesting. The Immortals have access to supernatural skills and abilities, meaning players can use both a wide variety of weapons and magic, which isn't something you normally see in a war battle genre game like this, as they're usually super grounded and focus on the melee combat. So adding in a little extra spice with some magic abilities and skills is definitely a trend that I personally like to see, adding a more flashy and stylistic approach to the combat, but I do know that some people may prefer the original method where everything is a bit more grounded, slow, and more focused on the swordplay. The development team behind the game is the same team that created the MMO Vindictus. Some people were very fond of the gameplay in Vindictus, so hopefully the combat in this new game Warhaven will reflect and will have taken all of the learnings from Vindictus going forwards. I did play a bit of Vindictus myself, and I can tell you guys the combat was very satisfying, so I really hope that they're going to bring that good feeling of the combat into this new game. So let's go over some of the features and game modes that you will be experiencing within the game itself. Players will be able to pick from a range of different weapons from the medieval era, and out of the weapons that we currently know are accessible in the game, you have swords, spears, maces, warhammers, and bows. During the gameplay, you can also see siege weapons being used like ballista, cannons, and siege engines, and this is of course alongside the magic that can be wielded. Personally, I played a lot of Guild Wars, which while it is a completely different genre, it did have the server v server v server battle mode, where you had different keeps and strongholds around the map that different servers battled over. It makes me think of Guild Wars a little bit, because you could deploy siege weapons and you had a large group of players storming a castle or a keep or a fort to get inside and take it for their own server. So personally, I really am excited by the idea of medium or large scale sieges, where you have a lot of players, one side defending, one side attacking. There's just so many cool moments and great bits of gameplay that can be had in that kind of scenario. It seems like within the game you'll be able to choose from a number of different immortals with different skill sets, and you will start the round off as a soldier, then gradually evolve into an immortal through the match, which is then when you'll be able to unleash massive magical attacks. There's no point going to battle in these kind of games if you can't customize yourself, make yourself look really cool and fancy, and that will be added in this as well. You will be able to customize your character. There will be cosmetics, which will be one of the rewards you can earn by winning matches, so you will be able to tweak the appearance of your character to your preference, of course depending on how lucky you get with getting those cosmetics and if you're winning a lot or not. So if all of this sounds interesting to you guys, then do remember on PC there will be a beta taking place on October the 12th until November the 2nd, and you can already head over to the Steam page, which will be linked down in the description, and just sign up there. Within the trailer itself, I actually really like just the grittiness and the look of the characters and the graphics. It does look very medieval, I get those vibes, it's very immersive in that aspect. In terms of the gameplay and the melee specifically, I really like how it looks when they're swinging and beating each other up. You can see the charge by the colour of the enemy's weapons, and it does look very visceral when you connect an attack on another player. Another very cool moment is when they're wheeling a siege engine forward, it's some kind of cannon, and it shoots some kind of glowing fireball that just does a huge explosion position on a point where a fight is happening, and you can definitely see that happening in the game itself when you're fighting against someone and then you just get one shot by a siege weapon. Another really cool part that I really did enjoy seeing was a CGI scene where a cannonball was fired at a mage and it was redirected into a group of enemies. The interesting thing is though, that in the second cut where it's launched into a bunch of enemies, it did look like gameplay, so I'm hoping that this is an ability that you can actually do within the game if you're playing this mage class. Another really interesting point is that when you are slain as an immortal, you don't simply die like a normal human, you shatter into a bunch of different stone pieces, so the death animations are actually pretty cool and unique too. Another very cool part is when they deploy a glider. It's a very short scene, but I absolutely love that there are going to be gliders in this game as well. There's also a very brief snippet of someone riding a horse, aka mounted combat of some kind, which I also really love to see. Maybe it's a particular type of immortal class or something like that that lets you spawn in with a horse and become a cavalry unit. But to get more specifics on all of these details, we will of course have to wait for ourselves and hope that we get in the beta so we can play it and tell you guys more about it if you would love to see more, which if you would like to see more about this game, definitely tell us in the comments down below and we'll do a follow-up video after playing it for ourselves and we'll tell you guys what's up and show you everything that we can about the game. Of course, if you do enjoy these videos, you can show support by clicking like down below because it really does help us out, and you can subscribe because we have a bunch of really exciting content planned for you guys over the next few days. The two videos on screen now we think you will really enjoy if you did enjoy this one. If you enjoyed the information or the games that we bring you guys, then the two videos on screen should be right up your street. You don't have to click them if you don't want to, but for now they are on the screen. If you do like the look of them, you can give them a click.